Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the title, we ain't cutting no corners today. So we're going to talk about white Jesus. And before we do, I'm going to give you a little backstory, okay? So over the years, people have been given the gift to be able to interpret and teach the Bible, right? So as you know, also God has given us our own free will. So these people have been given the opportunity to use the Bible in the way that they see fit for their lives and the people around them, right? So during the slavery days, if you don't know what happened, this is what happened. A group of indigenous people were kidnapped from a foreign land by Europeans to be held captive as slaves to do their work. So when that happened, the Europeans dehumanized the indigenous people, making them like animals instead of people, making them forget their religion and their way of life, making them eat a certain way and be a certain way for their pleasure. So as that happened, they were able to make them forget about God because they no longer had the history of where they came from. And even if they did have people behind who was able to remember, it was beaten out of them. If they brought it up, then they were killed for it. So they brainwashed, the group of people so that they can teach them their way of the Bible. So as that went on, they taught them their way of the Bible. And while they was teaching it to them, they made it as if God said that they were superior to them and that they had to listen to them and that the things of the Bible were against them instead of for them. So this is where it gets real. So therefore, if you don't have the ability to build a relationship with the Most High God, then you don't know how to talk to him, right? So what do? You cry out to somebody. And that's where divination came from. Okay, so if you don't know how to use something, you misuse it. Everything under the sun is made by God. Doesn't mean that it's for us or that we're supposed to use it. Just like it's hot and cold, there's high and low. Just like it's living and dead. So it's all a balance of things. So we are eternal human beings. We are eternal beings. That means that we are children of the Most High God, and there's things on this earth that He's created for us that we can use and utilize, for our personal gain. And it's also things that He put on the earth that we're not supposed to use and utilize. And just because it's there doesn't mean it's for us, right? So when the indigenous people were told that God wasn't for them, they cried out. They cried out for help. And that's where divination came from. Okay? So divination is used for the dead. That's where voodoo and hoodoo and things of that came from, because the indigenous human beings weren't able to communicate with the Most High. They got in touch with another realm, which was divination. And that's the fruit of the European people not allowing the indigenous people to be able to reach out to the Most High. Now here we are 4,000 years later, still practicing the works of evil, still using the things that were given to the people before us through hate. The Bible is for all of us to find our way back to God. But because the people who look like us practice something else, we think that that's the way we're supposed to go as well. If it's not from God, then it's not free. If it's from a different realm, somebody wants something in return. You got to pay that back. For instance, come with me to 1 Samuel 28. It says, now Samuel was dead. And if you never read it, Samuel was a servant of God. God used him to do work on the earth. So, long story short. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had mourned for him, and buried him in his own town of Ramah. Saul had expelled the mediums and the spiritualists of the land. So Saul, who was a former king. I don't know if you know the story of Saul and David, but he's a former king that God dethroned because being he was doing what he wanted to do instead of listening to what God said, basically. Okay, so it says, so Saul was trying to get in touch with Samuel because he was trying to figure something out that he wasn't supposed to know you know, because he's just not supposed to know. So, he's reaching out to a medium or a spiritualist. Let me finish, y'all. So it says the Philistines assembled and came and set their camp. Okay, so blah, not that part. Okay, so basically, long story short, he was warring in a war with the Philistines, and he seen that they were setting up camp, and Saul got scared, so he wanted to reach out to a medium. Is somebody who's able to connect with the dead. Okay, so medium means a middle person. Medium means middle, so they're able to be a middle between the living and the dead. Okay. Saul said to his attendants, "Find me a woman who is a medium so I may go and inquire her." So Saul disguised himself, putting on clothes, and, and at night he and the two men went to the woman. "Consult a spirit for me," he said, "and bring up for me the one I name." But the woman said to him, "Surely you know what Saul has done. He has cut off the mediums and spiritualists from the land." So he, when he was king, he cut the mediums and the spiritualists off from the land, but now he's needing them, or he wants to use them, and he's not supposed to be, but that's what he's doing, for his own good, because he got his own free will. Okay. "Why have you set a trap for my life to bring about my death?" The spiritualist is asking him, "Why are you trying to make me do something that you know I'm not supposed to be doing?" Saul swore to her by the Lord, as surely, and then he swore to her by the Lord. Okay? He knew he wasn't supposed to do that, y'all. "As surely as the Lord lives, you will not be punished for this." Then the woman said, "Whom shall I bring up for you?" "Bring up Samuel," he said. Okay, and basically that's what I'm trying to make. So in the Bible, there is divination, right? Just because it's available to us doesn't mean that we were supposed to use it. So that these things was used in slavery days when we didn't know and we didn't have and we couldn't be free to reach out to our God. Okay, so now we have the freedom, and now we have the resources to be able to connect with the Most High. So divination, voodoo, and hoodoo is not for the righteous. It's not for God's children. So it's time to let those things go. Okay? And that's what I came here to say. And I love y'all. And I hope y'all have a great day. And yeah, that's it, y'all. Until next